Hey, I'll never
Nothing like popping a good chalky milk after a good
Florida
day.
State wins. We'll all get on here and chug a gallon of chocolate milk next week. That's what I'm hearing.
No,
I'll do a half gallon.
that's physically impossible.
It is
drink a gallon of milk.
I'll do a half gallon.
Prove it.
Your body can't digest it.
Well, then I'll die on stream. I don't know.
Hey guys, it's Terrence Nan. You're listening to Hear the Spirit, presented by No Game Day. Go Noles.
Hey, what's up? This is Peter Ward, a.k.a. E-Dub, in the house. So we're listening to Hear the Spirit, presented by No Game Day. Go Live, go Noles.
Hi, this is Charlie Ward, and you're listening to Hear the Spirit, go Noles.
This is Terrell Buckley. You're listening to Hear the Spirit, presented by No Game Day. No Bloody.
But perhaps better known as the greatest corner to ever step on a football field, Deion Primetime Sanders.
Great Deion Sanders, my brother. What's going on, man? I could wake up to that greeting every day, man. That was awesome.
Hello, Noles fans. This is former Seminole Derek Brooks, and you're listening to Hear the Spirit, presented to you by No Game Day.
James Wilder Jr. What's going on, James?
Thanks for having me on. SSOD, Florida State or Die, and go Noles.
William Bar None Floyd.
Gentlemen, what's up?
What is happening, guys? This is Logan Robinson from Hear the Spirit, presented to you by No Game Day. We are here on this fantastic Thursday night. We are back on the Thursday nights. Missed them so much because you know why? It's basketball season. We're in the mix now, football and basketball. There's nothing better. That means we got a lot to talk about, not a lot of time to waste. And it's Miami week, gentlemen. We've made it. Nate's favorite team to talk about. He brings them up a couple times throughout the year, definitely during the offseason, and we officially made it. We're going to talk a little bit of Manny Diaz tonight, along with some final thoughts on the NC State game where Florida State took an L there, but looking to bounce back because Jordan Travis is officially back and available for the Noles ending this weekend. We'll talk the Miami visitor list because, man, that is jumping right now. Nate and Dustin have the latest on that. We'll talk a little pro Noles, and after that, we're going to talk about Florida State basketball's dominating win over Pennsylvania, 105-70. And the talk last night about Dustin and I were there for that. And we'll also preview a little bit of Florida State versus Florida. That they'll have that matchup on Sunday. And for the rest of that, we'll be previewing Florida State versus Miami. Keys to winning. How does Florida State come away with the win and snap that 4-game winning streak that Miami actually has right now on the Noles? And then we'll give our score predictions. So let's go and get started. With me this evening is Nate Greer, our lead recruiting insider, up there with an awesome looking shirt for all the live stream.
No Game Day couture right here, man.
This is
the one and only.
Auction. If they win, you got to auction it off.
Yeah, I'll auction it off, you know.
And you won't even wash it either. You get to have the smell
you
of
get
you
the
on
Nate
it.
smell. Fresh Sharpie, fresh marker. You know, I'm feeling great right now, man.
Absolutely.
I'll take it if you pay me.
What?
Nah, I wouldn't disrespect the shirt by giving it to you.
It would go down the
So
value.
I can't bid. I can't get in on the bidding.
I'll get you like a men's medium. I'll make it for you.
It's gonna be a tight fit, bro.
Yeah. That's not gonna fit. But down there, Dustin Lewis, our lead writer and editor, and then Austin Veazey, lead basketball guy in full action everywhere right now. Gentlemen, how are we feeling? It's Miami week. It's beautiful in Tallahassee. Game day. It's gonna be perfect weather. How are we feeling, guys?
See, to y'all, it's Miami week. To me, it's Florida week. We have started on Florida hate week.
Oh, God.
I don't give a damn about football. We are here in basketball season. Florida State basketball is 1-0. That's all that matters.
Let's just call it rivalry week.
Yep.
It's gonna be a rivalry. Yeah, it's gonna be a rivalry weekend.
It's hard to say. Rivalry week.
Rivalry.
Yeah, I swear I messed it up. I don't know.
Miami on Saturday, Florida on Sunday.
It's not easy.
Back.
It's not going to be easy. No.
Not even within 24 hours of one another. You go from 3:30 against Miami to what is it, 1 o'clock against UF?
Dustin, you're going to be in the press box on Saturday for this Miami game, and then we're going to send you down to Gainesville for that game, by the way. I just made that decision. We're just going to send you down there.
It's only like a 2-hour drive. It's not bad.
Yeah, you can do it. There's got to be a Whataburger on the way, too, so you'll be perfect.
There is not. There's
one in Tallahassee. Paying for my Uber?
You got a car, buddy.
It's in the shop, bro.
No, it's not. No, it is not. Oh, D-Lou. Well, let's jump into some final thoughts on this NC State game. Only Nate and I were the ones on there for that. But Austin, D-Lou, last kind of thoughts there. Didn't have Jordan Travis, McKenzie Milton kind of forcing some things here and there. And once again, Florida State's rushing game, absolutely awful. Kind of is a nice way of putting it. But throwing things in a double coverage. just atrocious on offense. Florida State was lucky that to be a little bit of a closer game in the second half, but offside. I mean, not offsides, but you had a special play there, and Mike Norvell comes out into the second half and has an onside kick that works out perfectly, and you go down and score. But that was about the only thing you really had, except for the next touchdown. But any thoughts, D-Lou and VZ?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I didn't really get to watch much of it because I had to go to a wedding, which those are so awesome to have on a college football Saturday. But
should be against.
I mean, from what I did see, it's kind of what we talked about going into the game. Florida State's rushing attack had to get going. NC State had a pretty good rushing defense. I think it's number 18 in the country or whatever. And Mackenzie Milton just couldn't do enough through the air. I know you guys can probably talk about it a little bit more than I can. And also the defense, it seemed like they did pretty solid for the most part. But once again, I mean, too many big plays, poor tackling in the secondary. Terrible.
I have no thoughts because I didn't get a chance to watch a single second. I was at work all day.
I literally watched 3 drives.
I didn't even get that much. I was at work all day, and then the rest of the week I was doing stuff for the Penn game yesterday. So I really don't have much to add. Other than I think the defense has stepped up a lot the last few weeks. I'm proud of the progress they're making, especially in the front four. It looked like Keir Thomas had a really big game. I didn't really get a chance, so I'm glad the defense is making some progress, and I can't believe I'm saying this. Hopefully Travis is back on Saturday, so offense can get something.
Oh my God, I can't believe it, man. The hate on Jordan Travis is unbelievable.
He's still. I wanted to stay on the record. I don't think he's a good quarterback, but he opens up the offense so much with his legs that it's hard to ignore that facet of the game.
There's just not a better option on the roster.
It's both can happen. That Jordan Travis makes the offense better, and he's not a good quarterback.
Correct.
Both can be true, and they both are true.
Yeah, can't throw, but he can run. That's it, right? That's what y'all think.
Pretty much.
They threw 44 times with Mackenzie Milton. They averaged 13 throws with Jordan Travis. What does that tell you about how the staff feels about him as a thrower?
Come on. Protecting the ball better than any quarterback that's been on this roster.
Get out of here, dude. Get out of here.
Protect the ball better. When's the last time he's thrown an interception? Can someone tell me what game that was?
Every game.
Nope. There you go. Nope. There you go. Exactly. Talk a lot of trash, but can't back it up.
Every game.
Anyways, let's move on here before I have to tell them what it's really like to have a starting quarterback that's good and definitely opens up the offense better. Still wanted, and I got to remember they wanted Mackenzie Milton, and that didn't really work. I told y'all in the spring who the starting quarterback was going to be and who's going to be better for this team overall. And happens to be Jordan Travis, number 13.
Again, there's a difference in best for this team and not good.
A good quarterback.
So do they have to be just throwing the ball 24/7? They have to be.
No, you don't throw the.
You got to be throwing 300 yards a game, 350.
There's a difference in opening up the offense and being a good quarterback. He opens up the offense so much with his legs. Like there's no dispute.
Yeah, well, it helps the running game too. But
when your head coach is on the sideline saying, make sure it's a one read throw. That way he has a chance to complete it. If not, we'll just punt. What does that tell you? That's a quote during the game.
Norvell told you.
Well, someone that was sitting next to Norvell during the game.
What are they doing on the sideline? What are they doing on the sideline? Why aren't they out there playing? Or whoever's telling you, or are they giving the water?
Come on, man.
I don't take it. I just hear a complete opposite. Just, I don't know. But let's jump into some practice observations. I mean, Jordan Travis is back. I mean, this offense is not so great without him. I mean, it just doesn't work whatsoever. Andrew Parchment last week saw a lot more action and a lot more success too. But, that running game is something that Florida State's going to need back. And overall, I thought the practices were a lot better than NC State. It was a lot dead, and I mean, it makes sense with the flu game being in there, affecting some of those guys not being out there and not being 100%. But the whole starting offensive lineman was healthy all throughout the week, being able to practice. Dylan Gibbons was a full go on Wednesday, which is definitely a good sign for that O-line and trying to get a rushing game going. That is much needed, very much needed, because Florida State can take advantage of Miami's defense's upcoming weekend. But the energy was there. The competitive energy was probably the best of it that I've seen since maybe Clemson week. Really competitive on Wednesday. Guys making plays, interceptions, touchdowns. quarterback Jordan Travis, I thought best passing wise that he's had in the week watching him. I know he was still dealing with stuff and recovering, but Jordan looked really good passing. And, got to see if that translates over to the football field and Doak on Saturday. But, like Mike Norvell mentioned, Tuesday offense looked really good. And then on Wednesday, it was a mixed battle between offense and defense. And that's probably a really good sign heading into this weekend. Everybody's quiet after I brought up Jordan Travis. God dang.
I don't have anything to say other
Just wait
than
for Nate to take it.
the offense is what it is. I'll talk about it as we talk about Miami, but Florida State's played their two toughest teams defensively. The tough defenses are in the rearview mirror now. I know some people will overreact to a more sustained running game, this week, thinking that Travis makes that much of a difference. But NC State was 7th in advanced stats against the run. Clemson was, I think, number 2 when they played. Two super tough teams to run the ball against, and when you don't have a legitimate passing game to open things up, it makes it hard. So, in comes Miami in their piss poor running defense. So the offense should be able to put some points back on the board this week.
Well, I mean, and there's a reason why, when the offense has been shut down running the ball, that they've been basically shut down completely.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the passing game, it's just not where it needs to be at this point. And, hopefully that's something the staff can improve over the offseason. It's going to take some steps forward at quarterback. It's going to take some steps in the wide receiver room. I mean, everywhere. So, but like you said, Nate, I mean, Miami, they do not have a good defense. North Carolina a couple weeks ago ran all over them. And really, I mean, the reason they're on this 3-game winning streak is because their offense has been so good. It hasn't been because of the defense at all. So I see, we're going to talk about it later, but I see this one potentially being pretty high scoring.
I agree.
Yep.
Austin doesn't care. It's basketball time. You know?
Do not care.
Done.
Do not. I am so checked out of football. Like
He's
I don't care
gone
about
now.
the Vikings. I don't care about. Nah.
I wouldn't care
Two
about
and a
the
half
Vikings
weeks
either.
left, man. 2.5 weeks,
Come on, man.
Austin.
Come on, we got Miami in Florida in 2 out of 3 weeks. I need ukuleles getting smashed. Come on, bro.
There's like 50 recruits out there. I need some interviews.
I was about to
backup.
say, Nate, tell him to get on some interviews at least. If he,
I know,
make
man.
up for
Shit.
it. Jeez.
Gonna
Golly.
contribute. It's great. You got a new helmet. Ooh, cool.
Are you even listening to us?
What?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, you with the helmet back there. You're showing off the helmet.
My boss is texting me. I'm sorry.
Oh no.
You're off the clock.
Tell him you're off the clock and you're on a TV show right now.
Well, some things gotta be answered.
Thousands listening. But yeah,
Thousands.
really,
Yeah.
well, close to hundreds of thousands. I don't know. We don't look
Like
at the
10
stats here.
people out there.
We stay focused. Yeah, the 10, 12. I don't know.
I mean, and it's Miami week. If these guys can't get up and get motivated to, have some retribution versus last year, man, I don't know what to tell you.
I was thinking, Nate, this is a good one here that you'd probably like, a good conversation starter. But a lot of people on Twitter not so happy with how the players have been commenting back to the media members about, this game, this upcoming weekend, mentioning, this is another game on their schedule, another week. Yes, it's Miami, but still they're staying focused on their plan. And any thoughts on that? Because I have something to say about it. Because my mentions were getting ripped apart. The Miami fans found my tweet.
Yeah, I mean, it's all, you don't want to put bulletin board stuff up there. You don't want to put anything that's motivational to the other team. I do like a business approach to it, but I also would like to hear him talk just a little bit of smack. That's, the nature of the rivalry. It's not just it's never just a normal game when FSU in Miami or FSU Florida play. It's just not. It's not a normal game. So I would hope there'd be some extra motivation, and I don't really care if they talk to the media about it or if they say anything different. But I'm kind of indifferent to the whole thing, to be honest with you.
I mean, you've got to know outside of the press conference, these guys know what this game means.
Correct.
You know, and I mean, you look at Mike Norvell. He's very political with his answers. You know, like you said, Nate, he's not going to provide some hot comment that the Miami players can run with. And you look over at the Miami side, you've got Avonte Williams coming straight out and saying, we're going to beat FSU. Well, who's got the motivation now? Florida State does. And coming out of Florida State side, I mean, there's nothing really.
Are they
either
beat
way,
are they beating FSU like he beat his girlfriend, or how's that going to happen?
Huh. Did I say pregnant
I
girlfriend?
I believe those charges did get dropped, so let's just put that in there so we don't get sued. I don't know.
Allegedly.
Yeah, as
Gotta
long as you
add-
do
you
put
gotta
allegedly
add
in there,
that.
yeah, then it saves you. You put allegedly, it
He
saves everything.
allegedly.
There you go.
Funny how
Well,
things disappear.
No, I think too. Florida State fans, they don't ever know what they want. I mean, they hated whenever. I'm not going to name names on here, but we know exactly. But a few years ago, definitely under the Willie Taggart era, players saying things the week before a game and getting absolutely
Dominated.
You know, yeah, dog. You know what? Could say multiple words there, but got crapped on literally that next weekend, and they had all those comments, and then it got shared around for rivals to use and everything of that nature, and that's when fans hated it. But now fans are pissed off that Jordan Travis or whoever else, Maurice Smith, isn't saying we're going to beat the living crap out of Miami. We're here. This is our biggest game of the year. We can't wait. We're so hyped for it. And Florida State fans are adding their starting quarterback this upcoming weekend, saying you're ridiculous. You shouldn't even be wearing garnet and gold if you're not hyped for this Miami game. It's just Florida State fan base acting ridiculous.
Let's also kind of be honest.
It's Twitter, bro.
Yeah. Let's be honest. If this was, if it had the national importance that it's had in the past, I think you probably see a little bit more, smack talk. It's just it doesn't have the national impact that it's had.
And it's just both
before.
programs are where they're used to being. I think that's part of it too. Obviously, Florida State Miami carries weight, but it doesn't carry the same weight as mid '90s when both teams are 8-1 and 9-0 heading into the game. It just doesn't have the same weight.
Mm-hmm.
This ain't 1 versus 2, 3 versus 5. It's not. So, in that part, it is just another game, but it's not. So, I would just hope that for me as a fan, I wanted to see them have a complete and opposite performance of last year. So that's what I want to see, because that was just atrocious.
Yeah, and I will say, Mike Norvell obviously didn't coach in that game a year ago, tested positive for COVID-19. So I'm interested to see his approach this week. Does he have a couple tricks up his sleeve? To
remember,
does the
Tate
offense come out
Rodemaker started
firing?
that game too.
Yeah,
I think it was Blackman that started that game. And
No,
Rodemaker
Tate Rodemaker
started the
did.
next game. Didn't he only start against
No,
Jacksonville
Tate
State?
Rodemaker started against Miami.
Someone in the chat tell us that's why we're live.
No, he started against Miami.
If there's any mistakes being made here,
I
Just
can't
on his
remember
leg.
that far back.
allegedly he did, right? Allegedly.
Allegedly, he peed on his leg.
I think too. I mean, mental wise, going into this game, Florida State this past weekend only had 2 penalties, if I'm correct. Only 2 penalties. Had a whole switch from what happened in Clemson. Hopefully, that's a learning thing that they had in Clemson. Hopefully, they were able to have that game early on, because that was crazy. You're on an away game, you have a chance to upset Clemson, snap that streak that Davis Swinney currently has on you. And
Chat said
mentally,
it was Blackman, by the way.
It was Tate.
Next game. Then he threw that pick 6.
But anyways, just mental wise, not making mistakes this weekend is going to be crucial. And it's a rivalry game. They're going to try to get in your head. These guys know each other. A lot of them friends / probably didn't like each other maybe when they faced each other down south. Either way, it's going to be a big mental game. And Norvell mentioned that in the press conference after practice on Wednesday, that they've got to be extremely smart. It's all about how you respond. Yeah, there's going to be energy. He's not worried about that at all with this team coming into it, but really about how you respond if things don't go your way or they go your way. You have a great play. What are you going to do that next one? and how you're going to do mentally. And so penalties, I think, are going to be really crucial for this game this upcoming weekend. They did great this last weekend, didn't do so great against Clemson. We'll see if they learn from being up there in Death Valley that you can't have those mistakes. You really can't. It will hurt your drives. And Florida State, we know, I mean, offensively, last 2 weeks hasn't been pretty. So in order to sustain those drives, they can't have those penalties at all. Let's jump into the visitor list because Nate and D-Lou, y'all have been working to get some names out onto our list here, and this is going to be a big one. There's a lot of notable names, including A.J. Duffy, Travis Hunter. You've also got 2023 quarterback Chris Parson coming in, too. Some big-time talent, even outside of commits, guys, like a guy, 5-star, number 1 safety in the country. Kamari Wilson coming in, too, and a few other names, too. But tell me some the latest on that list here.
You can go first, Dustin.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much just said it, Logan. A ton of talent is going to be in Tallahassee this weekend. Obviously, this is the last home game for Florida State in 2021, so they're going to try and pile up that visitor list as much as they can heading into the weekend. And you've already got guys like Marvin Jones Jr., wide receiver Camden Brown taking official visits, a ton of commits, a ton of other targets in Tallahassee. So you know, Florida State is going to treat them right, and if FSU can come out with a win, I mean, it's just going to keep the recruiting momentum going on that trail because you've got the early signing period coming up. You know, about what is it, Nate? 5-6 weeks from now, guys will be signing.
I don't even know if it's that long.
I think it's like December 15th to 17th.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at like 4 weeks away now.
4.5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. It's just crazy how fast it's coming up. I was doing the recruiting schedule today, and everyone is in the playoffs at this point. Like it's just wild. I feel like the season just started like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
But either way, I mean, a ton of talent, and this is a chance for Florida State really to move up a spot in the state of Florida.
Mm-hmm. Is there anybody? I know you talked to Chris Parson. I know there might be a few too, Dustin, that you talk to regularly, but maybe Chris on who we've had him on the show and he was fantastic and can't wait to have him back on. Maybe get him on for the preview the Florida game. But is there anybody that he's after? Anybody he's working on, or is he just kind of coming for the game? I'm sure he's going to use this as a recruiting tool and try to get with some guys and network a little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of a mix. I mean, he's definitely coming just to see the game and, be with the coaching staff in person again. He hasn't been in Tallahassee since the season opener against Notre Dame. But a guy that he's really struck up a friendship with is 5-star wide receiver Jaylen Brown in that 2023 class, teammate of Lamont Green Jr. And, Chris has been recruiting him pretty hard. Also, Santana Fleming, I'm not sure if he's making it in on Saturday yet, but that's another guy that he's been after. So, him being locked in so early, he's already working on trying to build that offense around him in the 2023 class. I think it's going to pay off over the offseason.
Now, for me, this list is going to continue to grow, but there's 3 names that are kind of a surprise to me. That's linebacker Shamar James. I know that he was considering Florida State before he ultimately committed to Florida. I think getting him on campus for unofficial, I think that's very interesting when you look at the need for linebackers. To get back into that recruitment would be, farly, beneficial from in every sense of the word. So, I like him coming for a visit. The fact Keyshawn Allen, the 4-star running back committed to Penn State, I think it's interesting. He's coming in for an official visit. He's a guy who's had a really strong senior season at IMG. I really find that kind of interesting. I know they've stayed in touch with him and have continued to recruit him despite his commitment to Penn State. So
I think that James Franklin to LSU talk is getting to him.
There's a lot of talk about Franklin and LSU and USC. So I think that's interesting. Could that play a part? I don't know. Hopefully we can catch up with him. And then, Keonta Goodwin, the 5-star committed to Kentucky, the offensive lineman. That's some big news too of him coming in for an official visit. So, this list is going to be significant, very much like the Notre Dame game. They're going to have to perform. I think they're going to have to win in order to really nail some of these down. And then you look at guys like Tyree West coming in, the kid that's committed to Georgia, defensive lineman. Florida State's involved heavily with him, and it would not surprise me if they ultimately flipped him. And then getting Antavius Woody, he has come out and said that Florida State is still, his number one, and he's still committed. And now he's coming for unofficial for the Miami game. So getting him back on campus, that's really a positive for me. So, and then the last one I want to mention, and the guy I would really, really love for Florida State to land, and I think is, even though he's pretty highly rated, but I think is a top 30 guy, is Earl Little Jr. That guy's just a tremendous defensive back, and he'd fit that nickel package role to a T for FSU's defense. I really like Earl Little Jr. I think if they could possibly, land that commitment, but I think that would be awesome. But he's
sounding
so.
Sorry to interrupt you, but it sounded like he might get pushed out of Alabama's class. They're trying to flip a DB from USC.
Yeah, that, and and numbers wise too, So if that is
that's just what Alabama
unfold, I'll take it. And that's not a knock on. They're trying to get Damani Jackson from USC's class, which the guys are like the number 7 or 8 player in the country. He's behind Travis Hunter as a corner. Guy's uber talented, so I understand it. Whereas Little's more of a utility guy. He can play corner. He can play safety. I think they're really looking for a straight up corner. So it'll be interesting to see how things unfold. But Florida State's been very much in that recruitment the entire time. So some big names.
Let's talk about. Go ahead.
Just some big names, and some interesting names that people really haven't heard about or considered that Florida State's a part of their recruitment.
For sure. Yeah, especially, Kamari Wilson to come back into the picture.
Mm-hmm.
Katron Allen, Goodwin. I mean, it seems like that came out of nowhere. But let's talk about Travis Hunter for a minute. How big is it?
I do want to say real quick, Kamari Wilson, I talked a little bit about it in the Discord. We talked about it before. He's had an interest in FSU the entire time. So while I do think he still goes to Georgia, he's kept Florida State in there the entire time and has legit interest. So, getting him on campus is nice. It's nice. And this list shows that all those naysayers about this staff's ability to recruit can just move aside. But yeah, let's talk about Travis Hunter.
Yeah, obviously Hunter.
I love doing that. I love.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I know. Hunter coming to Tallahassee this weekend. First time that he'll be at Florida State since the Jacksonville State game. Obviously, in between that time, he's visited Georgia twice. So how huge is it just for the staff to get him back on campus? We said a couple of minutes ago, 4.5 weeks ago, until the early signing period when he signs with Florida State and then enrolls in January.
Huge, to get you're building this great list of guys, and then it's important to have your top guy, the guy that's recruited for you since his commitment, to get him on campus, and everyone wants to be around someone like him, and that's going to pay dividends for FSU to get him around some of these guys, and he's been around some of them too. At Georgia, let's just call it what it is. So it's not like this is his first time around some of these guys. So Florida State's gotta have a good showing on Saturday, because there's a lot of impressive guys on this list that are frankly needed and would make this class very, very, very good.
Yeah, and if you see Travis on Saturday, make sure to ask him for a picture, because he said he's He's taking every
Yep.
picture and he's signing every autograph. So
Yep.
get it in while you can.
Yeah, get in while you can, and it's always great when you have the best recruit in the history of this whole recruit ranking system committed to your school. So enjoy it. So
Yep, he'll be most likely by the Unconquered statue. That's where he was during the spring game. But I have a feeling that was a spring game and it was still wild for him. Imagine just a real football game, but then it being Miami weekend. He tweeted it. There's going to be a line. He's going to have a line. There's going to be a line.
Yep. There's going to be some
to be shaking
Miami
his wrist
fans.
out, man. Hands going to be hurting.
Yep.
Yeah, and talking about him too in rehab, he looks close to almost 100%. I'll put a video up here in just a second. But guys, it seems like we talked about it too after the injury, and I was thinking too of him being a competitor. I had no second thought that he wouldn't want to compete and try to get a championship, a state title for his school in Collinsworth in Georgia. That's just who he is. He's a competitive guy, and I know a lot of people probably don't want him to play, but I don't think it was that of severe of an injury, which is a good sign. They kept it nice and protected, and he had a good rehab. But right now, it seems like there's a potential, maybe not this upcoming weekend, but next week, if they do have a game, it seems like Travis Hunter is going to be available to play.
Yeah, the kid's going to play if he can. That's just who he is. He's a competitor. But it also looks like he's another unicorn in terms of a guy that can just heal, like a Cam Akers or, someone like that can heal so quickly and get back to it. So, I mean, for him to be doing, jumps and what he's doing,
sprints.
So that leg is able to take shock and absorb, sudden movement. So that is a really positive thing.
Yeah, and I mean, I think he's right on the initial timeline that came out for the injury. Obviously, the Friday night that he got injured, we broke the news that his injury wasn't as serious as first thought, and that he was expected to be out for 4 to 6 weeks. That was on October 2nd, I think. So, I mean, you're sitting there right in that 5-week mark. So it wouldn't surprise me if he did come out and play tomorrow night, but I think he probably sits out 1 more week and then plays next Friday.
Yeah, if you notice here too, checking out the cleats, got the garnet and gold, got some FSU cleats he's rocking there pixels. Too. I know for sure you wouldn't be able to notice anything, but I can notice.
I will say, regardless of him returning in the playoffs, it's a good sign that he's come back so quickly, because now it definitely means when he arrives at FSU in January, he's going to be 100% ready to go for winter conditioning and spring practice. And if there is any, lingering after effects or whatever from the injury, that should all be cleared up by the spring.
Yep.
Absolutely. So yeah, he's going to have a lot of guys, leaders of their class coming in 2022 and 2023, with both Travis Hunter and Chris Parson coming in. And if Florida State
don't forget,
get away with the win there at home, it's a 3:30 game. You got enough time to party afterwards too, have a good time, hang out with the boys. I mean, it could turn out to be something special for sure on the recruiting
don't forget,
side of things. Man,
Cam Davis, 2024 commitment.
Yeah,
2024
too.
And then one of my favorites, Stacey Gage, who I thought had one of the best freshman seasons I've ever had last year that I've ever seen. He's coming back to FSU, so
you're high on him. Yeah,
a lot of huge names on that visit list.
I'm going to ask one last thing here, recruiting wise, before moving on to some basketball. Which game do you think is more important recruiting wise? Is it a win against Miami, or is it a win against Florida?
100% this game, because it's at home and you can have the recruits in the stands.
Yep, correct.
Yeah. Now, in just general, let's say it's neutral site game, blah, 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 whatever. Is it a better to have a Miami because there's a lot of Miami talent down there to get a win against Miami, or is it Florida? Let's just say it's neutralized there. I think Miami, just because of that factor. Just because
Miami.
I think it's.
You can make an argument for Florida, but it's still probably Miami.
Yep. Just because all the smack that Manny Diaz has said and done, it's a conference game. Man,
See what former UF commit Katron Allen said? Not Katron Allen. Raymond Cottrell said today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
And that
Not so
is
pretty for Danny.
That's a perfect summation of that staff. You know,
he's really not recruiting during the season.
Yeah, all those Florida fans were.
He's not lying, at least.
All those Florida fans were pumping their chests with freaking Tim Brewster coming on there, thinking that they were gonna clean up, and that's the most overrated recruiter that has ever lived. So, you know, hate to see it, but you also love to see it at the same time. So,
love to see it.
Yeah, that is that staff in a nutshell. So,
they got rid of a few people too.
So that's why 2 of them are already gone.
Yeah, exactly. Let's move into, before we get into some the rest of our Miami preview and such, we got some basketball to talk about. Both Dustin and I were in attendance. Austin was watching and covering too on his side, along with Jacob too. Basketball coverage is in full force right now. Man, oh man, Florida State comes away with an impressive win, man. I mean, Florida State just dominated, a little choppy there in the first little bit, but after that, I mean, it just wasn't even close, and they just dominated. And I got to think too. I mean, the crowd was in it. The student section already sold out days before. The crowd was there in it. I mean, the thing is, Florida State doesn't have to advertise anymore. At least the basketball program doesn't. They don't have to advertise. They don't have to do social media, all this kind of stuff. It's just they've built it. And like Terrence Med had said or a couple of years ago on the show, they were working so hard to build this. It's built now, and now people are flocking in to come watch Leonard Hamilton and Florida State play. Because it's not only, I was telling my friend this, they're not like big basketball people, but I'm not too huge at watching basketball either. But coming to watch FSU games is actually really entertaining, and it's been that way for a couple of years, and they're really fun to watch. And it's hard to not like them. Like, it's because they're just guys that are very supportive of one another, no matter who you are. Definitely when you're walk-on. I mean, I watched it last night whenever the walk-ons got to get in for like the last 4 minutes. I mean, no one was sitting down. All scholarship players were standing up, jumping on their feet, and that just goes to show what kind of family bond that Leonard Hamilton has built. Man, he's on it. But yeah, Austin, Knowles roll.
I mean, real quick to your point, I remember my first year as a manager, we were passing out flyers for the Big Ten Challenge against Minnesota.
Jeez.
Minnesota was a good team. They were a top 25 team that year. And obviously Florida State had a lot of time. If you go back and look at that team, it was the John Isaac, Dwayne Bacon. It was that team. That team had a ton of talent. They were passing out flyers for what should have been a really big game. And now, student section sold out immediately against Penn at 9 p.m. on a Wednesday night. It's come such a long way. I'm waiting for the boosters to follow through, just because it looks terrible on TV when you see so many empty seats behind the bench and in those sections, and then the student sections is packed out even beyond it. I think they said they oversold like 700 student tickets for Penn. Like, that's insane.
Yeah, the overflow at the top was packed too. The students came. The students are doing their job.
They showed out, and I'm happy for them because they're in the golden age of Florida State basketball right now. But yeah, just to the game, the first 8 to 10 minutes were pretty choppy. I think Florida State only had 13 points through 8 minutes. They were getting open looks. The getting the shots wasn't the issue. It was just making them. They just weren't making their shots. That was it. Defensive energy was just unrelenting all night. Through 12 minutes, you'd force 12 turnovers. And then you ended up, I think for the game, it was 26 turnovers. Forced Penn to turn it over on 31 or 32% of their possessions. So basically, a third of Penn's possessions didn't end in a shot. That's unheard of, almost.
Wow.
Florida State's defense is going to be something serious this year. You look up and down the roster, positions 1 through 4, you got guys that are just pests on the ball. Raekwon Evans, Caleb Mills was better than advertised defensively. Obviously, we already know what Anthony Polite can do.
Yeah.
Jalen Roy looked really good defensively, and Cam Fletcher, good Lord, 5 steals.
Dude.
My God.
He's different.
Chill. But
he was just jumping every passing lane. And like you said, Austin, not just creating turnovers, but live ball turnovers where they can run in transition and get easy points. I mean, they just ran it up. It felt like time and time again with easy layups because of the turnovers they were forcing.
They turned those 26 turnovers into 37 points. That's how you win basketball games. And then when you're playing in the half-court sets, You get 20 offensive rebounds and turn it into, I got to pull it up real quick, but I think it was 20 second chance points, 27 second chance points. So you get that's between 27 second chance points and 37 points off turnovers. I mean, that's a lot of points right there. That's how you win basketball games, especially when your offense isn't exactly rolling. You only shoot 31% from three. Really, Anthony Polite was the only one consistently making a three. Caleb Mills started slow, but once he got rolling, he was rolling. Matthew Cleveland didn't look comfortable shooting. He got to the rim at ease, but didn't look comfortable shooting. We didn't see Jalen Worley shoot at all. So the shooting wasn't really there, but he still put up 1.3 points per possession and still score 105 points.
Yeah.
You take that when your offense isn't rolling. You shoot below 50% from the field. You take that.
Yeah. No, Cleveland, I mean, that kind of woke up the crowd a little bit more. I mean, the take that he had, I mean, that was...
You can pull it up. I tweeted it.
Yeah, that was fun to watch. I'll get it set up here. Matthew Cleveland, that's a 5-star, one of the top players coming in the class. And yeah, that was pretty fun to watch. I kind of looked over to another media member. I was like, oh my goodness, Lord have mercy. And it's kind of those guys. I talked with Adrian Crawford after the game, and we were talking about Scotty Barnes, and I was like, man, we see a lot of resemblance of where Scotty Barnes was a different talent, and he was able to take those to the rim, and he just knew he was going to make it because he just was so talented, and that's where Cleveland. That was only his first game, going to get better and better, but he has that potential there.
He's a rare athlete. I mean, he just glided down the court, and I know Logan's about to pull it up, but he starts his euro on his right foot, keeps going right, and finishes off of his left foot. It was such what should have been an awkward step, and he made it look so simple. Brought the ball high. If he had dunked it, he should have dunked it, really. He was right there and laid it in. At least he got the 2 points, but it was a really impressive play. I remember looking back at it so I could throw it on Twitter. And I'm like, God, it's such an athletic play. And then the other play that really stood out was another play put on Twitter was Caleb Mills and one.
Is this it?
Yeah, this is the Caleb Mills play.
Caleb Mills play.
Hesitation, crossover, in and out, left-handed scoop finish, and one. I mean, this is a special finish. When was the last time you saw Florida State guard be able to break someone down like that?
Now, he has a lot of energy. That's one thing that I've learned. And you know me, I'm all about the energy, guys being hyped, something to get off my seat and everything like that. And that's
can't do that on press row.
I don't do that. I don't do that. You're standing up the whole time, though. I do see that up there, Dustin. I see you up there. But no, he's a guy that I just want some kind of I want that energy. Someone laying down the boom. I know he's probably not going to be that guy, but at least energy-wise, defensive-wise, he's going to be. He might be one of my favorites, and it's only been first game to watch.
And he's going to be a lot of people's favorites. I mean, that's we just saw the taste of what he can do. Like the first shot he made was. He got stuck in a bad situation at the free throw line, spun around, flicked it up, and just drained it. And then from there, he was rolling. He got to the rim at ease. It was making comfortable mid-range shots. He's a super talented player. I mean, the best shot maker we've had in a long, long time. And he showed it last night. It took him a little bit to get comfortable, but he's going to be really good going forward. And there's a lot of guys on the team that be good going forward. Raekwon Evans looked really good. Just more in control than we've pretty much ever seen him. Obviously, we already talked about Cam Fletcher. He looked much better than I thought he'd be. He was able to rise up comfortably, hit a couple mid-range shots. I didn't expect that. I don't think anybody did. Anthony Polite was solid as ever. And then we haven't even talked about Malik Osborne, who was the best player in the game.
Straight dominated.
17 and 8 in the first half. He had, 18 points on 5 total shots because he was just getting offensive boards and getting to the free throw line.
He had 8 free throw attempts in the first 5 minutes.
He was
a man among boys out there, and that's what you should do. I mean, against Pennsylvania, Yeah, your big man's got to go out there and dominate and all night. And he had a 3 as well.
Yeah, here's this Matthew Cleveland just showing up to load correctly. And
that's where I had flashbacks of Scotty Barnes from last year.
That's just a special finish. You don't see a lot of freshmen being able to take that kind of finish through 2 people. He would have had every right to pull it back, let the offense roll, but that's a special take.
Not only that, but he's got some speed. This
team, bounce.
It feels like everybody on this roster can run up and down the floor. If you let this Florida State team get into transition this year, They're gonna kill you.
Everybody can handle the ball. Everybody can push the tempo, and everybody can defend 94 feet. That's the most impressive part. Like
Was
when
that
you
2
see,
steps
yeah,
from the 3-point line?
yeah.
Yeah,
Like-
Woody's here agreeing with you, Austin. Sorry to cut you off there. It says, move the students to the side where the camera sees you. Having all the open seats behind the seats is like an unforced error.
And they go hand in hand. If you see students behind, like where the camera is going crazy, that's going to make the boosters want to show up. The boosters just see the empty seats and go, I don't have to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But if you put the students there and they're having a blast and it looks like it's packed, it's going to make the boosters show up. It's a two-handed thing.
Yeah, still a little work in the progress here. Eric dropping a 25 bomb. Geez, it must be Miami week. Saying NG crew bringing the Knowles coverage. He's got Florida State winning this one 36-14. It might be the shirt.
Hey, we're opening up bids at $25. Open up bids at $25.
$5. Damn. After the win, it goes up to like 100, right?
Nah, probably about 2K, 3K, probably.
Gee, damn! You got the clout like that?
It's
dude,
couture,
it's art.
man.
It's art. You can sell it for however much money you want. Like,
Yeah, it's no game day couture, man. It's a one and only. Yes, it is. One of a kind. It's a one and only.
Did your wife make that shirt? I hear her chiming in.
No, that was Nate.
There's no way you made that by yourself.
He did.
I swear to God.
I don't believe you could get the letters that straight because I mean I'm not roasting you, but my handwriting's terrible.
Well,
no, I swear,
there's no way.
I have great handwriting for a male, like legit. So
you got to send Dustin some pictures whenever you get off here, like later tonight. Send him a couple pictures.
Yeah.
Seen some videos.
The one thing that my wife did, my wife colored that F in right there. That's all she did. Everything else I did.
It's impressive. Yeah, send Dustin a couple, maybe a little slow-mos too. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Dustin seems to have some kind of fetish towards some handwriting stuff. So
just curious.
Hey, man.
Some people are different, Nate. Dustin's like that. But yeah, Eric, thank you for the 25 bomb. Also go Lady Knowles too. They started off, soccer's killing it too. And trying to figure out that emoji. I think that's a soccer or a wheel. I don't think we have a NASCAR team. I don't think Florida State has a NASCAR team.
They just won the ACC championship.
That's right. They just won the ACC tournament there. Congratulations.
Number one
them.
seed national again.
Yep. Once again, Coach K, coming into the season, he kind of said it too. He said, I've got a squad this year, and the goal is it should be mandatory that they win this one because I think they feel pretty bad about last season where they should have won that one too.
Mm-hmm.
And women's basketball too, start out the season too. Want to know, but yeah, Florida State. Any thoughts there? Last on that Penn game, or do we want to jump into the Florida preview talk here, Austin? Another rivalry game, Saturday and Sunday. We're jammed with stuff.
Yeah, I know. Really, only last thoughts. Davion Colston, if you want to pull that comment up, he's asking, what's the difference? Between this year's team and last year's team?
Defense.
Yeah, it's defense. This team just gets after it. There's no Nate Jack where you have to worry about if he comes in for 5 or 10 minutes that you're going to get torched defensively, or Sadar Calhoun, or like MJ Walker was so banged up in ACC play, he just wasn't as good defensively. You don't have that issue right now. These guys are they want to play defense. They want to force turnovers. Like I'm still concerned about scoring, honestly, and we saw it in those first few minutes, and we're really going to see it against Florida. Florida's defense is a little bit different this year, so I'm curious to see how Florida State does against it.
I was going to mention a few things after the game too. You had Malik Osborne. He was saying that he felt like this is a special team, and from both Caleb Mills and also Malik and even Leonard, they were kind of speaking on a few things that they just felt like they missed on last year, and they could have gone even farther. But he said that they're trying to make up for what was lost last season. And Malik feels like this team has the potential to take it all the way to a Final Four. Caleb Mills, I thought, which was funny too, was mentioning that, he's the best defensive player there is on the court, no matter what. He was also pointing at the rest of the locker room and saying, yeah, y'all better say my name. I am the best defensive player. But showing that kind of, he's just got that energy. He's got that, likes to trash talk a little bit, even if it's with his teammates, but just goes to show that he's going to try to back it up on the court. And he said, no matter who the opponent is, it doesn't matter Penn, whoever the hell, he's gonna bring the energy no matter what, and he's gonna be the best defender on the court when he's out there. So I thought those were some pretty good interviews after the game.
It's great to hear, because how many UCFs have we had? Like, I'm not saying recently, but in the past, like in the 2012, 2013, 2014 era. And even recently, like there's been games that are a lot closer than they should have been, like Western Carolina in 2019 went down to the wire. And there's always these games once or twice a year where you're like, seriously, guys, what are we doing?
Yeah.
I thought Penn hit.
I don't see that problem.
Penn hit a couple of ridiculous shots though too.
More than
they've got some guys that are a problem. Like they were hitting deep threes,
and
they were down by 30, and I was still like, damn. Whenever like a 30-footer,
it's not like it was bad defense. Like the one that I think it was Jonah Charles hit that was right in front of Coach Ham. Like he had somebody draped all over him and just knocked it down. Like good shot. Sometimes you just got to tip your hat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but I will say, last night was phenomenal from Florida State. It was a great game. But in my opinion, this is the worst version that we're going to see of this team while they kind of integrate the 6 new players and everyone builds chemistry with one another. So really by January, February, they should be heating up as you start to get towards the postseason.
Yeah, that's something Leonard mentioned too. He said there's still a lot of things that they got to work on and see who fits best in whatever schemes. So
as Ham would say, the cake is still in the oven.
Yeah,
that's what
he was happy. He was a very happy camper though after the game. I don't know. I've never been in attendance for a press conference after a game, but it was the first time being there. He just seemed like a really happy guy. It was around 11:30. He said he was tired, and I was agreeing with him 100%. A little late, but he was smiling, laughed a little bit, and giggled. Said he was going to leave the game, head to bed. He thanked everybody for coming, and said he was going to go turn on the TV and watch film when he goes to bed. So
I feel pretty good.
Very happy with the performance.
I feel pretty good about my Elite Eight prediction that I gave before my one sentence basketball preview I gave last week.
Yeah,
I feel pretty good.
I feel really confident. A lot more confident than I thought I did a week ago.
Not even a week ago. I mean, 24 hours ago, I was like, I need to temper my expectations, and then they just blew every expectation out of the water first game.
Well, I think too that some of the youngins coming in felt like that was their 5th game, 6th game. Like it looked like they had been in mid-season kind of. They just felt comfortable,
You can argue after Malik that Cam Fletcher and Matthew Cleveland were your 2 most impactful players because their plus minuses were just through the roof early.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of compared it to freshman Devin Vassell, where he may not play a lot right now, but when he gets on the court, he's going to be impactful. He's going to make plays. He's going to get in passing lanes. He's going to hit good shots. That's kind of what I compare it to because they didn't get a lot of playing time. I think Cleveland only played like 18
20,
minutes.
I think.
So it wasn't like they were playing a ton. They were just making plays. Yeah, Cleveland played 20 minutes and then Fletcher played 17. So you only had 4 guys log 20 minutes. No one played more than 24. It was the perfect Coach Hamilton game.
Let's jump into some Florida State versus Florida. They're going to be traveling down to Gainesville for this one on Sunday. I don't have the TV provided on here.
ESPN.
ESPN. Oh, perfectly. Thank God. No ACC network BS. And did anybody, sorry, just to bring this up because this happened around the time before the game, but anybody else see the ACC network place work done on their special piece and have Miami as the college he went to?
It was so bad.
Not only that, they said he was first team all Big East. Like, how do you get it to that level?
Yeah. How do you do that?
3 different wrong facts about him in Miami on there. Like 1, okay, maybe. 2, you're screwing me. 3, it's on purpose. They did that shit on purpose.
They did on purpose. It was a Miami fan on purpose.
Yeah.
Had it been
100%.
And the sad thing is, since it's the ACC and ACC network, that person, instead of being fired or suspended, they're going to probably get a raise for doing that. So that's just how the ACC is. FSU. Anyways, I just had to bring that up because that was like atrocious to see on Twitter before the game started last night. Let's jump into Florida State versus UF. It's going to be aired on ESPN. We'll have full coverage on that Sunday. We're going to send Dustin down there with a cab. We're going to send him with a taxi this weekend. But give us the goodies on that one, Austin, because Mike White, I always preach to all my friends, all my UF friends, that I'm here to put money towards extending Mike White. # extend Mike White always. But is this going to be a little bit closer than we think, than usual?
I mean, really, a lot of games have been close in this rivalry for the most part. You have your exceptions of, what was it, 2017, where Florida was ranked 5, Florida State was unranked, and Florida State just went down there and whooped them. I mean, just beat them up and down the court, beating them to every spot, contesting every shot. They just whooped them all day long. But for the most part, this has been a pretty competitive series. I mean, you have the Dwayne Bacon game winner in 2015. You have the Florida-owned tip-in.
Wait. Was that in 2015?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, bro.
Yeah. You had the Florida-owned tip-in 2014. Like, this has been a pretty competitive series, even if Florida State's won 7 straight. The results don't always show everything. Like last year, Florida State may have won by 10, but I don't even know if Florida State wins last year if Keontae Johnson doesn't go through what he went through. And it's important to talk about this game knowing that he's not going to play. And if he does play, it's an entirely different team because Florida doesn't have a lot of size. Outside of Colin Castleton, who's 6'10", 6'11", Anthony DeRugi, who's I think 6'6", 6'7", maybe, and then CJ Felder, who's like 6'5". They don't have a lot of size. And without Keontae Johnson, who's just this massive guy, 6'7", 220 pounds, without him, they're just missing a lot of size.
How's he doing, by the way? Sorry to get off topic.
No, it's fine. Like he's around the team. He participates in warmups. Great spirits. He has hopes that he can play this season. I really hope he can. That kid's got all the talent in the world. And hopefully, the sooner we see him on the court, the better. Because
it'd be a great story.
He's a damn good basketball player. He would have been a lottery pick last year.
I was there, last year when that happened, and it was just an extremely scary moment.
But Florida did a good job of addressing a lot of needs this offseason. They went out and got 2 Defensive Player of the Years for their conference in Flanders Fleming and Brandon McKinnick. Then they also bring a couple really good scorers in Myron Jones from Penn State, and they get CJ Felder from Boston College, who I was always a fan of, but he didn't really play a lot against Elon. The first half for the game against Elon, Florida whooped them. It was 47-24 at halftime. And I don't know if they came out of the second half, just didn't want to play a lot. They kind of thought the game was over. Elon, I wouldn't say they got back in the game, but he's made a little bit closer. Outscored him by 10 in the second half. I was taking a lot of notes while I was watching the first half of that game. Florida's really going to try and keep people away from the middle. They don't want the ball reversing from court at all. When a ball screen happens, Colin Castleton's coming all the way up to force the ball handler back to the same side. You're going to see a lot of that. You're going to see a lot of press. They have this soft 2-2-1 press to try and get teams to speed up into mistakes. I think that suits Florida State, honestly. If you can get a middle pass, get a middle drive, you can get a 3-on-2 pretty quickly. And as athletic as Florida State is, you might see some big plays if Florida decides they want to try that 2-2-1 press. Because there is that no middle defense, when you drive, you're going to have to go strong at the rim. If you try and go with a soft layup, Colin Castleton is going to come up and block it 2 to 3 rows deep. He's fast, he's quick, he's got really good feet. So you got to go up strong. And then on the other side of the ball, when Colin Castleton has the ball, the offense is going to run through him. He can play make for himself. He can get the ball at the top of the key and drive. He has a good spin move. They have these sets where they'll clear out an entire side of the court and give him the ball on the block. He's going to provide an interesting matchup. I can't stand the kid. I think he's annoying. He has that like Christian Laettner vibe to him that just everybody can't stand him unless he's on your team. It's kind of who he reminds me of. But he's very skilled. He has a really good hook shot, really good post moves, really good feet. He's going to give our 7-footers issues. And I mean, a lot of issues. I trust Malik Osborne on him if that's who they decide to stick on him. And I wouldn't be surprised since Florida's not that big. But he's a problem. He really is. They got some good shot makers in Myron Jones and Tyree Appleby. Good defenders, obviously McKissick and Fleming. And even CJ Felder's a good defender. But the thing that works in Florida State's favor is they're only going to play about 7 guys. And they're not that big.
I was going to ask who's going to be the biggest matchup. Who's going to have to win their matchup the most against Florida?
It's going to have to be the guards. Raekwon Evans, Anthony Polite, Caleb Mills, they're going to have to really do a great job defensively. Because even against Elon, they turned it over, 13 times? Yeah, they had 13 turnovers against a not that great Elon team. I feel pretty good, especially watching that first half against Elon. Yeah, they really outscored them, but it was a lot of just effort. It wasn't a lot of scheme stuff. They have a lot of quick rub actions to get open looks at the rim, but because Florida State switches everything, a lot of that gets taken away. They can just hang back, see what plays come, and saying, okay, I know what's happening here. They do have one set that I'm kind of worried about. Tyree Appleby will get the ball on the right wing, pass it to Castleton while he's in motion, and then get the ball right back on the flip, and then Castleton immediately rolls. That's something that Florida State's going to have to really play that well, because Castleton got 2 or 3 easy looks right off the bat against Elon with that. So that's the one thing I'm looking out for. I'll put it in the preview article to show exactly what I'm talking about. But other than that, I feel pretty good. I really feel pretty good, especially if you can get Castleton in some foul trouble. I feel pretty good about it. Yes, Michael, I will be at the South Carolina game in Rock Hill.
All right, well, Austin, this one's for you. I don't think any of us can really chime in. What's your score prediction?
I can't spoil that. You know I'm not going to spoil it.
Dang, the show doesn't even get it. The show doesn't even get it.
We give our football predictions on the show.
Yeah, but the guy
article. You got to do
the guy who does there's Nate. The guy who does the football game preview isn't on the podcast.
Who? We are?
But I do the score prediction article.
That's different. That's whatever. I won't. And the football articles are going to get
more. I gotta find some way to bait. He's got to bait him somehow, Dustin. I guess.
I mean this in a respectful way, but more people will hear your prediction now than.
Well, that's why he's trying to bait it. He's going to bait
exactly what I'm trying. I will say.
Everybody's on.
I will say I think we win.
Okay, Florida State wins.
I'll give you all that. I think we win, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's kind of comfortably.
I got Florida State by 15.
I won't say that.
That's not comfortable. I feel like that's a comfortable range.
It'll be single digits. I'm saying I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, that's a comfortable.
I think they're going to smoke them.
I don't know. I think Castleton just brings so many different
I'm too
looks.
Confident.
I
they got you last night.
Castleton brings so many different things that Florida State's not going to see much the rest of the year. I'm not too worried about their guards. I'm not too worried about Tyree Appleby. I think he's hit or miss, and he hit a lot in one game, so he's probably going to miss a lot this game. Myron Jones, he's a good shooter. He's a really good shooter. Played really well at Penn State. He didn't really shoot the ball that well against Elon. I think he was, 6 of 13? So, yeah, wasn't that great. He's going to put up a lot of shots as long as I think Florida State's length is going to really bother him. But, yeah, I think we win.
Eric's saying extra comfortable here with Florida State beating.
If we beat Florida by 35, what are you
going to do? You're going to do something in the closet.
I'm going to be relentless on the timeline.
You're going to have to smash something in that closet.
I think you just put the score from last night, guys.
No. The way he's wording it is saying we're going to be Florida by 35.
Eric's saying it. Eric, the 25 bomber, saying 25.
And if we get 8 straight, I'm going to have some. I'm gonna be talking.
You're gonna have some fun in that closet. That's for damn sure.
Let's
move on here. I think that was great coverage there from us. If you guys aren't following him already, make sure you follow. It's in the description down below. I'll give you full scoop on everything basketball wise this upcoming season, along with our guy Jacob too, helping a lot with recruiting too on that side of things. Nate, you're coming in at the best time, joining us back as always from your disconnection. Couple times on the show. It's officially Florida State versus Miami weekend. One of the nastiest rivals. I think it is my favorite rivalry, at least since I've been young and didn't get to see all the old school ones like maybe you did back in the carriage days, Nate. I mean, just back in the old days. But Florida State versus Miami has got to be one of my favorites. I mean, just kind of the nastiness, guys hitting hard, guys don't like each other, a lot of chirping before games. That's how football should be.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just football. But it's officially Miami week, and Manny Diaz gets to come to town. This will be actually Mike Norvell's first game in person against a rival. Mike Norvell talked about it this week, saying that he looks forward to seeing a packed Duck. He said it was loud during COVID year last year. Just wait, my friend. On Saturday, it's probably going to be a whole different experience for him. But, both guys are really fighting to find a win out of this season, and definitely recruiting wise, this is a huge game for them. But they're going to be going at it on Saturday at 3:30. Looks like perfect weather, and it'll be aired on ESPN. First thoughts and feelings heading into this one. Are we feeling energized? You know, it's a rivalry game.
Go ahead, Dustin.
I'm scared.
Nate's got the shirt on, so I mean, you're scared.
I'm scared. You know, Miami comes into this game on a 3-game winning streak. Florida State obviously has lost their last 2, so you know you got to have the Seminoles bounce back in this game, and it's going to be tough with what Miami presents on offense. They've got capable playmakers. Obviously, Tyler Van Dyke has really come on strong during the winning streak. They haven't been turning the ball over much recently. Their defense, I do think Florida State's going to be able to do most of what they want to do against Miami's defense, which is why I think this game's really going to get up there in points. I think the over-under is set for 64 or something like that. I think
64.
Yeah, I think it probably gets into the 70s. Like I'm seeing some points in this game, and I'll share that in my prediction later on. But it's a tough matchup. You know, the defense is really going to have to step up and not allow big plays against Miami's wide receivers. Charleston Rambo he's a beast.
There's one thing that concerns me about this game, and one thing only, and that's the way that Van Dyke's been playing, and the way that Florida State's had a lot of still, 10 games into the season now, miscommunication on the back end still hampers this team defensively. When you look at Miami, they have done very well the past 3 weeks. They, against NC State, who was the 31st pass defense in the country, they passed for 325, had 71 plays. Against Pitt, 37th, they had 426 yards passing. Against Georgia Tech, who was 121st in the country versus pass, they had 389 and 76 plays. So, they found something with the pass game, and Van Dyke's really good about taking those deep shots, and he's been able to connect. And Rambo's really come on as that transfer guy, playmaker that they needed. The other receivers are hit or miss, and Rambo stepped up to be their primary number one guy. That's the only thing that concerns me about this game. Miami's 106 against the run. 106 in the country as a rushing offense. That doesn't worry me right now. Jalen Knighton is a big time playmaker in terms of, he can take a swing pass to the house. Right now, I feel like he's more effective in the passing game. He's a tough runner. I like Jalen Knighton a lot, but he hasn't really had a ton of big plays on the ground. So, and then you look at their defense. Their defense, they lose Bubba Bolden on the back end. I think they're very unathletic at linebacker. I think that's a matchup that FSU can scheme well against. Their defensive line, it's just okay. They're 94th against the rush.
Well, they lost all those playmakers on the edge from last year.
Yeah, and they had no one behind it. But they're 94th against the run, and they're 70th against the pass. And what Florida State does well, and what they've done well all season, is run the ball. So I that's one thing that sticks in my head. But I'll talk a little bit more in my prediction. But I think that this is a game where Florida State has an opportunity to score a lot of points. Miami gives up 100% scoring in the red zone, and that's an area that Florida State's done pretty well in this year. Once they get into the red zone, they get points. So I think that's another trend, another thing that bodes well for Florida State in this game.
Yeah,
is that a real stat? Where'd you get that from?
That is a real stat.
100%. 100%.
The same
through
stat.
9 games. That's crazy.
That's a real stat. I got it from the same place where it gets
the Tate Rodemaker one.
Yeah,
that was a good one. Come on, you got to give it to me. No, but
I
serious.
hate you and your female
Absolutely
legs, man.
not.
I hate it.
You hate my female legs? God.
Yeah.
So you don't like female legs?
You
just don't like
not on
mine.
men.
Not on men. Okay. Thank you for calling me a man. I appreciate it.
Men are supposed to have kinkles.
I don't have kinkles. I don't, and they're not even close.
Guys who claim that they're athletic as you are should not have kinkles.
Extremely. Not athletic, extremely.
Okay.
We've gotten to cankles now. We got to get back to the game. But if that,
Miami's averaging 3.
Well, the red zone thing I was going to
yards a
mention,
run.
with Jordan Travis being on offense, that's going to bode well for Florida State's chances of getting into the end zone, because that opens up a variety of different things that Florida State can do. And, I think, too, this might have a wake-up call, too, for the tight ends in Florida State, because Karen McDonald, you've also got Jordan Wilson, who's getting into a groove now. And, Norvell mentioned it, too. He's getting in, he's at senior year, and he's starting to click a little bit better, too. This is a chance for these tight ends, these veteran guys, to go in there and play well. And definitely in that red zone threat, they can use these guys a lot, I think, too. Definitely with Miami's linebacker core.
I'm very interested, with the way that Keir Thomas has really stepped up the last few weeks.
Menace.
I think that's gonna open some things up for Jermaine Johnson. And Miami's given up, I think, like 27 sacks a game. So can Florida State get pressure on Van Dyke? And they're going to have to hit him. They're going to have to hit him a lot, because he does do a good job of staying in the pocket and getting rid of the ball. That's the one thing that concerns me about this game is, Florida State secondary has been so up and down all season, and Miami's found something on offense the past 3 weeks.
Yeah, I was going to say, if there were to be like last year where Florida State didn't have Dog Dookie at pass rush, this game would worry me a whole lot more for a passing quarterback. Here, you can battle that really well. Van Dyke talked about it in an interview earlier this week, saying this is going to be the best defensive line they've faced since Alabama. I mean, Florida State's pass rush right now is getting better every week. You look at Malcolm Ray, who's coming in. He got a sack last week. Keir Thomas, 2 sacks. Jermaine Johnson. I mean, and you also got guys that can sub in, like McLendon and Quashawn Fuller, who Fuller has also played a good game, and we'll see him next year too. But this is where Florida State, Cooper too, in the inside, Fabian Lovett, not even talking about Fabian Lovett, but he's just caused havoc there. This is where Florida State could really make this it will be a battle, but I mean, shoot, Florida State can take advantage here at the offensive line, man. I mean, Florida State's defense and their pass rush is getting better, and they can get after Van Dyke. And like he personally said, this is going to be the best defensive end, the pass rush they've faced since Alabama. And they've got to get prepped for that.
Yeah,
but
honestly,
go ahead.
Looking at the defense, I think the defensive line's performance is honestly probably the most crucial part in Florida State coming out with a win, because, we can talk about the secondary improving all we want, but we're 9 games in. That back end is what it is. They're not going to fix the miscommunications or the missed tackles in 1 week. But on the flip side, that defensive line does have the potential to go out there, get 5 sacks, hit Tyler Van Dyke, get him out of rhythm, and win Florida State's ball game. They almost did it against Clemson. So it's going to be huge. And, you look at Van Dyke's numbers. He's been – you said it, Nate. I mean, we can just heap praise on the kid. He's been excellent. I mean, he hasn't thrown for under 325 yards in a game during this winning streak, 10 touchdowns to 1 interception over the last 3 games. So, maybe if you can hit him a couple of times, get him off rhythm, force a turnover, he will have a bad game. And at the same time, he is going to be playing in a pretty raucous environment. So we'll see if that has any effect on it as well.
I wouldn't say that Van Dyke's played bad defenses. I just told you NC State's 31st in the country versus the pass. Pitt's 37th. Georgia Tech, they're god-awful on defense this year again. But, I mean,
so Florida State's going to be the worst defense he's played, is what you're saying.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is going to be this is going to be a game where, Brownlee's going to have to be that guy. Jerry Jones is going to have to be on his stuff.
On his North Carolina game.
Going to have to
be huge to get Sidney Williams back.
Yep. If Travis Jay's had a good practice like practice week, like Norvell mentioned, that would be very helpful in this game because they're going to have to. They're going to have to get up in their face. They're going to have to throw them off their routes. They're going to have to play aggressive because they're going to take deep shots. It's on film. That this team is susceptible to miscommunication and letting guys run wide open. And Van Dyke can throw a deep ball very, very well. So.
Mm-hmm. And let's talk offensively for Florida State against Miami's defense. Florida State had a chance to get back into their running groove, Nate, I feel like, because, Miami and that linebacker core, I mean, they can run, and definitely if they get in the red zone, Florida State who has been great in the red zone, they should have really good efficiency this upcoming weekend. But, man, Corbin, seems like things have just fallen off out of nowhere where Florida State was dominating games running the ball. And you are facing good run game defenses.
Yeah,
you are playing good run game defenses.
It's who they've played. I mean, despite their poor performances against Clemson and NC State, they're still 28th in the country in the run game. So, I mean, that's how good they've been.
Mm-hmm.
I don't expect Miami to come out and just be dominant in the run game. The 94th in the country against the run. So, I mean, they're not a great run defense. The linebackers aren't great. They don't have Nessa Silvara can create some havoc inside, but they don't. It's a different defense than last year. This is not a great run defensive team, and they're going up against an offense that has done well overall this year running the balls. So I think that's going to be a style matchup where Florida State can exploit in this game and have a lot of success. Very simply put, I think that Florida State can get back to what we've seen with Travis and the RPO and with Corbin and even Sean Ward. I think you're going to see a better game from that group of three, and I think they're going to really give Miami a lot of problems.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing about Miami's defense that really worries me at all. That's why I'm just so focused on this being a high-scoring game. I mean, you look at their last 4 games, 3-1 in that stretch. The only loss being in North Carolina. The defense hasn't held an opponent to less than 30 points a game. They've given up 45, 30, 34, and 30 in the last 4 games. So Florida State should be able to put some points on the board for sure. And I'm not going to be surprised at all if the rushing attack, pops for a 200-yard day because – I mean, North Carolina, who Florida State obviously defeated in Chapel Hill, did whatever they wanted to do against that defense.
Again, you can't look at the Clemson and NC State game and think that they've lost their ability to run the ball. The simple fact is, the NC State game was Mackenzie Munt, a quarterback. They threw 44 times. The offensive staff knew they had to throw the ball in order to beat that team. You and I talked about it on the instant reaction, Logan. So you can't really take that and think that things have automatically just stopped for the Florida State run defense or run offense. I'm sorry, but I felt all season very strongly that FSU is going to be able to run the ball well against this team, and I think that they're going to have some big plays on the ground on Saturday. So some big plays.
You want to see?
Well, I mean, in the winning streak, where the rushing attack carried the offense, who'd you play? You played Syracuse, you played North Carolina, who doesn't have a good defense, and you played UMass. So yeah, you got brought down to earth a little bit going against Clemson and North Carolina State, who we've talked about 2 of the top 15 defenses in the country. So it makes sense to me.
Yeah, but I think, I was going to say for NC State, and I think someone put a comment in here which makes a good point. I think Jordan Travis changes a lot for last week. There was so many opportunities where I'm thinking if he was in, could have rushed a lot. Mackenzie Milton just not that mobile to be able to do that and get out of the pocket quick enough.
100%.
And that's where I think Florida State really could have had a really good chance of winning that game. So
despite how awful
if you look at it that way.
They still could have. They still had an opportunity to win that game last week in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, with how putrid it was, still had a chance, and that's what I'm looking at going into this week. And the Florida State fans should feel a bit better. And definitely health-wise, you get Dylan Gibbons back on the offensive line this week. You know, health reasons-wise, looking at practices too, Florida State feels like, you know, Toa Philly probably still dealing with some things, might not have him available this upcoming weekend. We'll see if Sidney Williams is a go. But other than that, you kind of have your full health back like you had against Clemson, which is a really, really good thing because you want that. I still don't think the offensive line is anywhere close to being 100% for that. But for this matchup alone, I don't think you can work with what you got right now.
You need it because it's going to be a physical game.
Yeah, and DBs wise, it's going to be crucial for them. I mean, Jerry Jones is still, the inconsistency is there. You like, whoa, things are turning a leaf there against North Carolina, but then things just get beat on routes. And then Travis Jay is having a really rough time still one-on-one. And, you know, you got to think too, Lashley would love to put some one-on-one situations with Travis Jay if he's putting into him, because man, oh man, he's just not been great there. Definitely in the red zone.
I agree.
Well, I say we go ahead and jump into some score predictions to end off the show. Before we do that, let's show some love to our sponsors. First, number one, Hobbit Bar and Grill. Definitely appreciate them for always showing us some love here and sponsoring the show. Every single week, we'll be continuing with them all throughout basketball season 2. So if you guys are going to basketball games, leaving basketball games, anything of that nature, they're open all throughout the day. Definitely they'll have the games on all throughout the season. But make sure you guys go show them some love. The best wings in town, in my opinion. Get it extra wet, extra crispy. They'll hook it up. I love Carolina Gold flavor. The best. Nate, we don't do boneless chicken nuggets. We don't do that with sauce on them. We do traditional. We saw you tweet a couple weeks ago a picture of you eating some real bone-in wings. How'd those taste?
Well, I told you I specifically left meat on the bone in protest.
And you missed out on some good meat.
I purposefully did not.
Did you get
devour the bone?
Were you wearing your baby bib too?
No, I was wearing a diaper. I had
You're not that old.
But I wanted to finish my meal, so that's one reason why I didn't completely eat all the meat off the wings. You know.
Good Lord. But, yeah, I hope Hobbit loved that. Hey, we're talking Hobbit here. We love you, Hobbit. But, yeah, definitely appreciate them always hooking it up. They've also not only have wings, they have burgers. They have all different kinds of things like wraps, too. So definitely go check down great beers, too. So before games, after games, go check them out. And then also, as always, our friends over there at Celsius. New deal going on right now. We're in November, no longer in October. So things change. Right now, you're seeing it in my hand, strawberry guava. You guys, if you want, I've got the code. I'll put it on the stream right here. We saw a lot of you guys actually grab some of these and showed a lot of love. But we got 20% off right now. The link will be in the description, but 20 FSU guava is the code. These are awesome. I drink these before going to practices every morning, and they do perfect for me. I don't have that coffee taste in my mouth either all throughout the rest of the day, but these are awesome.
Hey, Dustin,
all your vitamins
get yours yet? You get your samples yet?
I'm not giving them to him.
Also, you get yours yet? No? Interesting.
Yeah.
In the same city as him. Can't even.
And they just sent a whole nother new care package, Nate. So I'll figure them out. I'm drinking all of them. I'm going greedy, all. Dude. I'm drinking all of them.
You know how much appreciate I would love an energy boost.
You want an energy boost? We'll give you a couple.
Watching Penn film at 2 a.m. It gets kind of boring, you know. I need something to pick me up.
Well, get your 7 essential vitamins right here. These are the best drinks in the game right now. If you want a little kick and energy and you don't have that crash, I'll make sure to send some to the guys. Eventually I'll send it. Hey, I got the shirt sent to y'all. That took months, so just give me some time.
Still waiting on my polo. Still waiting.
I don't need any more
polo. No one has one.
I don't need any more no game day armbands either. They don't fit.
No, yeah, fat wrists. Both
I have good man wrists. Yes.
You bought the smallest size wristband.
Not for
he
me.
went like
show some love for the people that like to eat every now and then.
I know.
I have to starve myself for 3 months to be able to fit that thing on my wrist.
He went the cheapest route possible.
Go for a run.
Small, $1 a piece. Medium, $1.50 large. Is it up $1 a piece?
That's how much they are. I get them from China. That's how much they are. I'm not jipping anybody. All right, I'll get some extra large wristbands. These are just regular. I didn't get skinny people.
Yeah, regular for
wristbands.
toddlers.
Austin, they feel good on you, don't they?
Fit me great.
Yeah,
because you weigh 120 pounds.
All right, 175. All right,
175.
You're 6'2", 120.
6'1", 175. Thank you.
And he's not way taller than me, by the way. No,
I am. I got 5 inches.
Awful, and it doesn't even.
Pull the picture up right now.
No, the picture was really bad.
This is me and Lowe's just towering over Logan.
Yeah, because I also didn't know where I was.
This is fair.
Yes, thank you for that. Let's go ahead and jump into a gentleman. Florida State is going to be facing Manny Diaz and the Hurricanes this upcoming weekend at 3:30 on ESPN. Florida State's looking to snap that 4-game winning streak that the Hurricanes currently have on Florida State. Nate's showing off his shirt. It feels weird of you, like, kind of just doing that with the camera. I don't know. It felt a little odd.
That's how I feel.
Showing off your
it's hate
cleavage.
Week, man.
It is hate week.
This is called a gym, dude. Like, you and your bird chest.
Bird chest? Are you kidding me? Some good meat in there. All right, we've got to stop. We've got to move on.
This is going sideways. Let's talk about Miami.
We've got to get going here. It's Miami week. We hate Miami. Everybody hates Miami. Who wants to go first? Because I'm feeling different.
I went first last week, so I think it's Logan's turn.
Logan, you go first, man.
Dang, I got to get the tweet out, though, first. Someone, Dustin, you get to go first. I got to get the tweet out.
I went first against Clemson.
Okay, that was weeks ago.
I'll go first.
Dang, Nate gets to go first on
So, Logan, you kind of made a smarmy comment about, my age. And in my time watching this rivalry, just like there is in a lot of rivalries, the team that runs the ball the best wins this game. In the last 10 years, so from 2011 to last year, the team that ran the ball for the most yards won 7 times. The 3 times that the team that ran the ball the most and lost had the most turnovers. 2017, FSU outran Miami, but they had 2 turnovers. 2014, Miami had more running rush yards, but they had 3 turnovers. 2011, Miami had more rush yards. Florida State won. Miami had 4 turnovers. So this game is going to come down to who runs the ball more efficiently, who can control the clock, who can wear down the defense, and who can not turn the ball over. FSU right now is -4 on the year. Miami is -6. So both teams don't turn the ball over for the offense too much. So, both teams don't force a lot of turnovers. So, I think that's an even playing field there. So for me, it comes down to FSU's ability to run the ball against a defense that does not stop the run. For all of my, smack talk and, my feeling that, Jordan Travis is a limited quarterback, this is a game that fits his style. This is a game that fits FSU, what they want to do on offense. So I think Florida State wins 33-28. I do think that Miami will put points up. I do expect a couple busted coverage plays that Van Dyke's able to hit deep. But I just think that Florida State's going to be able to control the game. I think that they'll make more plays when it matters most. And I think that their ability to run the ball is going to be what separates them in this game.
Ooh, Nate's got the Noles win. And that's not just because you hate Miami. This is just a non-biased prediction.
No, it's non-biased, man. That's, looking at what each team does well. I mean, if Florida State was 0-10, I would pick FSU to win 80-5 just because I'd never pick Miami to win. That
was your preseason prediction.
I just think this is a style matchup.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a style matchup that can bode well for FSU. There's going to be plays on both sides of the ball. I just think that they're going to be able to run the ball very well, and they're going to be very successful and be able to bust some big plays while also wearing down a Miami defense that, one, isn't deep, and also too just isn't good.
No, you're not wrong. I'll go next, so then Dustin can. Do you want to go, Dustin? You're rolling your eyes like a little schoolgirl.
You got it.
Oh, I'll go.
Perfect.
So I think me and Dustin talked about it over the phone a couple days ago, where I think we were both on the agreement where we didn't feel pretty optimistic about this. I think too, the worrisome was if Jordan Travis was going to be available, because after what we had seen against NC State, it didn't look so great offensively, and wasn't pretty to see. And guys dealing with the flu, and that was really a problem. I mean, guys weren't fully 100%, and you're able to see that this last Saturday. Florida State going into this one, the one thing that makes me feel really good if I were to be picking Florida State is the pass rush. Keir Thomas and Jermaine Johnson, and Keir seems to be just, I mean, hitting a different gear right now, because he's also last year, guys, senior year. He's also trying to get out there and get his name out there. It's not just Jermaine Johnson, and both of these guys can help each other immensely this upcoming weekend. They could have highlight tapes. This is not a really good offensive line they're going to be facing this upcoming weekend. They've got a great quarterback that's performing well right now, but man, right now, that offensive line Florida State can take advantage of, and Fabian Lovett, I don't think people are talking about him enough heading into this game. Fabian Lovett and Robert Cooper, I think, are going to be a menace to help disrupt that and not cause. It's just going to have to keep it strict to where they're going to have to throw the ball. I think Florida State practices this week were really well. I thought they performed nicely, and they're competing really well. The guys were energized but playing smart. And the defense just was trying to cause havoc. And that's where I feel really nice about that. You've got tons of recruits coming in. Some of the best talent in the country will be there. You've got current commits. You got Travis Hunter there. He's going to be recruiting. You got Chris Parson there, 2023, 2024 guys, 2022, everywhere. Everybody's coming to this one, where Mike Norvell, as a guy that's very strategic and likes to put on shows and wants to do something big recruiting wise, like he did this last offseason, this is where he's got his time to shine. Everything kind of just is clicking, connecting the dots to where Florida State could come away with a win this upcoming weekend. And with Jordan Travis back at the helm, and guys being almost fully 100%, getting all of your guys out there, maybe just a few others, but not key players that can help you get this win, I think Florida State does come away with the win, with the home game and the Florida State fan base being there and being loud. I think FSU does come away with the win. It's going to be Florida State 31, Miami 28. And Jordan Travis has one of his best games of the season on Saturday.
So there's a lot of room for optimism. I'll go. You go last. I went last against Clemson. We saw how that ended. So, there's a lot of reason to be optimistic heading in this game. I mean, when you talk about the pass rush between Thomas and Johnson, can really get after Van Dyke. And we haven't really seen Van Dyke get pressured a lot. He's played some good defenses. He's played well. I think the offense can really get after and put some points up on the board, as Nate has mentioned a lot. Especially on the ground. I expect both Corbin and Ward to have big games on the ground. They just got to limit the big play. I really do not trust our secondary. I think someone's going to get beat over the top a couple of times, whether it's Travis J, Jerry and Jones. Someone's going to get beat over the top a couple of times. And, a rivalry game is going to come down to the end. Because FSU plays Florida on Sunday, and basketball and football cannot go hand in hand.
You don't think they go? What? Can't pick two?
I can't.
You can't do it?
Taking Miami 31-30 missed field goal.
Oh my god!
Missed field goal. Oh. Now, are you doing that just so you get your basketball win? Is this what's
I'm getting that so I can get my basketball win.
Oh my goodness! It's Leonard Hamilton. He's going to get us win.
I don't care.
Right. That's his son.
I do not care.
I wouldn't even.
I grew
worried.
up in Florida, where it is 90% Florida fans. I need
Austin.
This
I need you to take that helmet down and give
do
it away.
You want me to angle it up so you can see the Terrence Mann jersey? Do you want me to do that?
Oh,
yeah.
Get the basket. Now get the football. Get the football.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
I'm sorry.
Wow. Unbelievable, Austin. Just selfish. Extremely selfish.
I was going to make you a shirt. I was going
to
make you an old game day couture. But now you don't deserve
it. Well, now make him have to buy it, because if Florida State does win, then he could pay up.
Yeah, he can pay.
Austin does pay for apparel too
on the raffle.
That's one thing Austin will pay for is country
you saw-
concerts and apparel.
You see that 19.9 jacket that I put on the timeline this morning? Whew.
Those are nice.
Whew.
I mean, look at those shoes up there. Those got to be $1,000.
Nice.
All right, well, let me close this out so we can get out of here.
Dustin, Dustin's got to go
It's
do
time
his
to go,
makeup. Yeah, Dustin's got his makeup to do.
I will say a couple weeks
he's-
ago. What are you doing over there, Logan? A couple weeks ago, I thought this was a much easier game to pick for sure. You know, because Miami was struggling. I think they were 3-4 or whatever, and they were kind of going down into the dumps. So like Manny Diaz's future and Coral Gables was pretty bleak. But I mean, they've really turned things around with this 3-game winning streak. They're starting to click, and you know, it really looks like a team that's starting to hit its rhythm at the right time. You know, they're definitely going to be a bowl team, and we'll see what happens from there. Florida State, on the other end, hasn't looked too hot the last couple weeks. I think Jordan Travis coming back is going to be huge. The rushing attack, it's going to get back in sync. I'm thinking over 200 yards on the ground this weekend. I'm just worried about the defense because, like you said, Austin, I'm afraid that the DBs are going to give up some big plays against a capable Miami offense. I think Charleston Rambo probably has, 120-plus yard game against Florida State. And, as good as the pass rush is, I don't know if it's going to be enough to limit Miami's scoring. So I'm going to go Hurricanes 38, Seminoles 34, and FSU falls to 3-7, and we'll miss a bowl game again.
Yeah, that's right.
It's depressing to predict, but
thanks a lot, depressing, Dustin.
I will say every Florida State win, I predicted a loss except for UMass. So reverse jinx it.
There's only been 3, so that's not a
great loss for most of these too.
Well,
so thanks for that. Thanks for
I
that.
I picked the win against Clemson, and
so
they
just
lost.
don't rely on whatever.
I'm changing my score. I'm changing my score.
Oh, here we go.
55-3.
Oh,
Yeah,
what is it?
55-3.
I knew it was coming. I just didn't know when.
I'm telling you. I'm not saying that anywhere close to what
55-3. That's what's going in the prediction.
Just other than sure, Florida State went on
55-3.
there. Miami's on their 3-game winning streak. Florida State was also on a 3-game winning streak, and everybody's talking highly. National people are like, "Oh, Florida State's making a turnaround." All right, Miami's on their 3-game winning streak. Snap that off too, right there. Why'd have it? I mean, you've got so many recruits in attendance. You're at home. I just don't think there's so much more of a bit. There's not like a huge matchup on either side where you can't really say much. Florida State's defensive line, though. I mean,
I
haven't had that kind of product like that in a long time.
I need Manny Diaz to limp out of Tallahassee.
If we get a Manny Diaz
get it with
picture,
Walt
like
Bell.
no, if we get a Manny Diaz picture like Walt Bell, where he's like in the fetal position at the 20-yard line,
the fetal position, jeez.
Yeah,
dude, my head would spin off my body if I can get that picture. Okay.
Nate, what you drink with me that night?
No, because I don't like to drink anymore. But my head was spin off my body, dude.
I was thinking like a Dr. Pepper or something.
Nah, man, I gotta cut back my soda consumption, man.
Oh my god! All right, just drink a water with me, frig.
Oh
man,
we'll drink milk.
I would say we'll toast a chocolate milk.
Yeah, man.
Hey, I'll never
nothing like popping a good chalky milk after a good
Florida
day.
State wins. We'll all get on here and chug a gallon of chocolate milk next week. That's what I'm.
No,
I'll do a half gallon.
That's physically impossible.
It is
drink a gallon of milk.
I'll do a half gallon.
Prove it.
Your body can't digest it.
Well, then I'll die on stream. I don't know.
So
we'll get views.
You can't do it. We did that in high school. This guy thought he could do it, and we did it for one of our science in science class. The guy yacked all over after about 3/4 of the gallon, just white crap all over the room, dude.
How about we don't chug it, but maybe we just bring a half gallon of chocolate milk and we drink that.
You've got to drink a whole gallon of milk by the time the show's over.
No, shut up.
I'm not drinking a gallon.
No.
Why a gallon? Why can't we? Or why can't we just sip on chocolate?
Not a bad time.
I'm just trying to make it
Florida State wins. The No Game Day Couture will be available for auction. Starting bid is at $25. Eric already put his bid in $25. So
Yeah, and you're not washing it.
Nope, this is a one-shot deal.
Does it have cologne on it?
You know,
will it smell good? Will it smell good?
Well, I mean, I have showered and put deodorant on, so yeah. So
will you wash it?
I mean, if you guys want, I'll wipe my ass with it too. If you want a little bit, you know. I mean, what are you asking, Logan? You're being stupid, dude.
I'm not. That was Dustin. He asked the same question I did. Yeah.
God.
He asked the same exact thing I did. I don't know why. Duffy Debbie over there. Are you going to wear that shirt during the game?
More than likely, yes. No. I should FedEx it to you and have Travis Hunter sign it. No, I'll frame it. I'll frame that.
Oh my God, you would.
No. You
would do unspeakable.
You need to wear it so then you'll get all the sweat because I know you'll be sweating during the game, and then you'll be able to sell it off.
No
sweat. Yeah, that's right. You predicted 55-3. So
55-3. Coasting.
Yeah, it won't be anything.
Coasting.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great comment there from Michael.
There you go.
And the bid begins now. But yeah, I think that's gonna wrap up everything for this week. Man, we went through a ton of stuff. But before we get off here, I just definitely want to say Happy Veterans Day. I want to shout out to my uncle who always jumps in here and listens a few times throughout the year and has always been supportive of me, but definitely appreciate him and all the others out there that, protected our country and served. I mean, all the respect to them. Some of the things that they go through, and I've got a friend
I want to shout out someone too. Then I want to shout out my cousin Colin. He's in the Coast Guard right now, stationed in Jacksonville. I want to shout out my cousin Caroline. She's retired Marines. Shout out one of my best friends, Doug. Just got back from Iraq. He's gonna retire next year, and then one of my other best friends that lives in St. Pete, Nick, who's active Coast Guard. He's a station chief there. So, everything these guys do, man, it goes unnoticed, man. These guys surrender a lot of personal stuff to protect us. So,
yep.
Yeah, I'll shout out my Uncle John and my grandpa. Both were Air Force.
No, and I got to shout out my grandpa too, who was a Marine. Rest in peace.
Yeah, my grandfather too.
Same,
but yeah.
Air Force.
A lot of people. But yeah, shout out Uncle Coos. But yeah, definitely appreciative of everyone there. We hope also too everybody that's coming in town, safe travels, flying, driving, boating. I don't know, however else you can travel, but hope everybody travels safely to Tallahassee this upcoming weekend. Should be fun. Always got rowdy Miami fans coming in town, so it should be entertaining to say the least. Hopefully we get some viral videos of students fighting in the bushes with Miami fans. There's nothing better than that, honestly. So that would be the best of it all. We'll be there in attendance to give you guys full coverage on that. Our last home game, Florida State's last home game of the season. So hope everybody enjoys it. Should be a beautiful day. What'd you say, Dustin?
Said boo. Can't believe it's already over.
Man, college football is almost over, man. Dang it.
Yeah.
Happens every year. Just sneaks
up. Florida State's ends a little bit earlier nowadays. That's for sure.
And then I got to watch your stupid ass basketball team.
Oh, my God.
Okay. All right.
Damn. Jeez.
Yeah. Right? Hamilton.
Yeah.
Elite Eight.
You're the one that said it. Get him off the show. Get him off the show.
End it before I get mad and throw my laptop.
Oh, he's gonna rage quit and throw another one of his ukuleles. All right, guys. It is still a win would have helped that. Burn it. Yeah, exactly. All right. Burn it. All right, everybody have a great weekend. Enjoy the game, and we'll talk to you guys next Thursday. Remember that. Write that down. Thursday at 8 p.m. See you guys. Have a great weekend.